Hello everyone, I'm Rodrigo Durão and this is what's happening in Brazil. We start by updating you on the latest news from the country. Brazil will not charge taxes of people who earn up to $880 per month. The government initiative now needs to be approved by the lawmakers. At the moment, only who earn less than $500 are free of taxes. The project was one of Lula's election promises and will benefit one in each 3 workers in Brazil. The son of former President Jair Bolsonaro, Eduardo Bolsonaro, announced he is giving up his lawmaker job to live in the United States. Eduardo Bolsonaro says he is afraid to be arrested by the Supreme Court. He also intends to use his proximity with Donald Trump to advocate for the idea of amnesty for the participants of the coup attempt 2 years ago, such as his father. More than 300,000 people were hospitalized last year due to the lack of sanitation. More than half of them were infected by diseases transmitted by bugs, especially dengue. Despite this, the number of people hospitalized for this reason is fallen 3% each year. The historic flood that hit Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil's southernmost state, last year left agrarian reform settlements submerged for weeks in the metropolitan region of Porto Alegre, the state's capital. In this episode of Story of the Week, you will see how even in the face of great difficulty, agro-ecological management allowed food production to resume in these areas.
After the waters of the 2024 flood in Rio Grande do Sul receded, the situation in the Integração Gaúcha settlement, part of the landless rural workers movement in Eldorado do Sul, was bleak. The town is in the metropolitan region of Porto Alegre and was totally submerged. In addition to homes being destroyed, the 64 settled families found vegetable gardens and rice paddies devastated, the settlement's infrastructure and machinery destroyed, and uncertainty about the future. Less than a year after the climate tragedy, and still with the challenges to overcome, the food production in the agroecological gardens is back at the market, and the agroecological rice is about to be harvested. The result comes from the management carried out by the settlers over the years, using agroecological techniques.
A gente tira o mato e
We remove the weeds and put them back in the soil so that it is protected from rain and sun erosion. If we remove this cover now, leaving the soil bare, it will suffer. The leeks we planted will suffer, and above all, the insects in the soil will suffer. We use various types of ground cover.
The settlement has occupied the region for 34 years and has produced more than 11,000 bags of organic rice a year. Despite the difficulties, joint work and solidarity have been essential for resuming production.
E a gente começou devagarinho, então, fazer uma drenagem do solo.
We started slowly draining the soil to recover it. We dried and recovered it with compost, limestone, and green manure. And then, through the landless movement, the Agro-Ecological Association at the fair, we started a campaign to collect seeds and seedings to recover the plantation here.
a gente usou muito composto.
We used a lot of compost. We used biodynamic preparations, which is a practice we've been doing for many years and that brings life to the soil. Here in the settlement, all the gardens are agroecological.
Marildo Molinari, nicknamed Tubiano, celebrates the resumption of the agroecological rice production. After so many problems, their year promises a good harvest.
Nós se obrigamos a retomar, né, após enchente, na verdade.
After the flood, we were forced to rebuild everything that had been destroyed, and incredible as it may seem, the crops are looking good. We had to rebuild the light fittings, the pumps, the canals, and the roads that the flood had destroyed completely. And today, 8 months after the flood, we are happy to see how the rice looks, and we expect to produce our usual average, around 100 to 120 bags per hectare.
Among the techniques the settled communities adopted years ago and that improved the quality of food without damaging nature are the bio-inputs.
Eles já são utilizados há muito.
For us, we don't use pesticides. It strengthens the kind of agriculture we practice, our habits. It's like compost. It's the compost we make at home. So the biological product is collected, it's a strain that's collected and isolated. Then we buy this little ferment and reproduce it in our bioreactor.
March will probably be a month to celebrate one of the MST's most famous products, agro-ecological rice.
Vai ser a nossa 22ª, né, festa da...
That will be our 22nd Rice Fair. It will take place in Viamão, in the Filhos de Sapé settlement, on March 20. We're going to celebrate, we're going to fraternize this resumption after the flood.
In today's Culture Talk, you will learn a little bit about Elizabeth Teixeira's story, a longtime leader in the fight for land in Brazil who is celebrating 100 years of life. Amid celebrations of her birthday, Minister of Agrarian Development, Paulo Teixeira, announced the expropriation of the farm where the movement for land in the state of Paraíba was born.
It was from Barra de Antas, in a town called Sapé, in the state of Paraíba, that Elizabeth and her husband, João Pedro Teixeira, started a fight for agrarian reform and against the oppressions perpetrated by large landowners. In 1962, João Pedro was murdered by large landowners in the region. As Elizabeth mourned her husband's body, she assured she would continue fighting for land. Today, the Peasant League's memorial stands on the same site and the struggle for land continues.
This is a time to celebrate Elizabeth Teixeira's 100th birthday, but it's also a time for reparations, denunciation, and a time to call for agrarian reform in our country. Because this woman, like so many other peasant women, was prevented from living. Her life was directly impacted by state violence coupled with large state owners.
This month, the region has been celebrating Elizabeth's 100th birthday with the launching of books, an exhibition about her life, and a march in defense of peasant memory.
This is an act that marks our story. I think that 100 years shows us that we are beginning again, or we are continuing what João Pedro Teixeira, Elizabeth Teixeira did, and others to come will do. That's extremely important for us women who are trying to make the countryside a better place. We are looking for opportunities for youth in rural areas, for mothers, daughters, and daughters to come. So with this woman as a reference, it's a space where we can see that maybe in the future we'll have other women. I can also be such a woman like Elizabeth Teixeira. I can see myself in her.
Brazil's Minister of Agrarian Development, Paulo Teixeira, took the opportunity to announce the expropriation of the farm, which will become a settlement aimed at landless families. He was received in Sapé by Elizabeth Teixeira. Their handshake was surrounded by expectation for agrarian reform, a historic struggle for Elizabeth and people's movements in the countryside.
O anúncio hoje que foi tão comemorado aqui.
There was an intense celebration today because of the expropriation of the Antas farm, costing 8 million reais.
The expectation is that at least 30 families will be settled there. In addition to the expropriation of the Antas farm, the minister announced investments in the purchase of food produced by the agrarian reform in the region and the implementation of irrigation systems that use renewable energy.
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We will see you next week.